All right, so when we go to edit, the first thing I do is open the photo in Lightroom, and then I start doing my basic adjustments. So here we're turning down the exposure a bit, adjusting some contrast, adjusting the whites and the darks, just to try and get the photo as close to what my eye sees as possible. Um, Once we've kind of done those base ones, we're going to bring the temperature a little bit warmer just to help pop out those trees and make it look a little more orangey because this was shot in the fall. And once we've done the base edit, including whatever cropping here, I cropped a little bit just so there wasn't quite, so the bikes were a little bit more centered in frame. And then we start going ahead with masking. So here I noticed the sky was a little bit overexposed and was just bringing it up. So in Lightroom, you can automatically have a mask for that. So I bring it down, and then I also bring the blues up a little bit so that the sky is a little bit more blue looking than it otherwise would be. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and go in and just make sure that those trees and the bikes, sometimes what can happen when you put on a mask like that is the bikes and or whatever your subject is looks weird by contrast. And then I'm going to throw a mask on the subject itself and adjust some things, mostly just exposure in this circumstance. I want them to really pop out of the background. And one thing you do have to be careful when you're doing that is that they don't pop out too much because otherwise it can unnatural. So like really zooming in and taking time to focus on them and make sure they're looking good. Um, as you can see, there's a little bit of weirdness in the background, so I went over and just adjusted it just a tiny bit so that it wasn't quite so poppy and it looked a little bit more natural. I'm kind of liking this. I did notice that on the right side of the photo, there is this cool blue radiant. And so the next thing I did is I went and grabbed a radial mask from the mask tools. And what a radial mask is it's like an oval shape that you can adjust, and it really helpful when you maybe have some brighter parts of the photo that are obviously the sun, but they are too bright. And you can essentially manufacture the sun into it to make it look a little bit more natural because cameras have one sometimes when you set the ISO for a subject, you can't tell what the ISO for the sun is, and so the sun ends up being super blown out. So here I saw that there was that cool light coming from in the side, so I turned it down, adjusted it a bit, and now we hit export, escort in your, excuse me, upload in your highest res file, and then I like to make a new folder for every project because it makes it much easier to keep track of all your products. And there's the before and after. Thank you for watching and subscribe.